Topic 6, we're going to look at multiplication and division with scientific notation. So just a quick reminder, scientific notation is kind of like shorthand for numbers that have lots and lots of digits, okay? And we just need to make sure the number is written in the form a times 10 to the n, where 1 is less than or equal to a is less than 10. So basically 1 or a has to be between 1 and 10. It can equal 1, but it can't equal 10, and n is an integer. So that's the basics that you need to bring forward into this video. Now, what we do is we basically split these numbers up. So you're going to multiply two numbers or divide two numbers that are in scientific notation. What you do is you take the a factors, you multiply or divide those. Then you take the power of 10 factors, you multiply or divide those. And then at the end, you just simplify your answer and make sure it's either in decimal notation or scientific notation, depending on what the question asks. Okay? So for example 6, it says perform each operation, write the answer in scientific notation. So for us, we need to double check and make sure that our answers are in this format, okay? So we have 6 times 10 to the negative ninth times 7 times 10 to the fourth. So I want to take the a factors and multiply those, and then I want to take the power of 10 factors and multiply those, and so we'll have to use the power rule. So I'm going to kind of rewrite this. I'm going to have 6 times 7 times 10 to the negative ninth times 10 to the fourth. Well, 6 times 7 is just 42. And then when I have 10 to the negative ninth times 10 to the fourth, we have the power rule here. We're multiplying two things that have the same base, so we keep the base and we add the exponents. Well, negative 9 plus 4 is negative 5. This is the one time it's okay to leave a negative exponent in your answer, since we're going to just make sure we stay in that scientific notation. But we always have to double check to make sure we meet all the criteria to be in scientific notation. And the biggest thing to check is the a factor. Is this number between 1 and 10? Well, no, 42 is too big, and we need to get it into that just right sweet spot. So what I do, if I'm not already in scientific notation, I rewrite a so that it is in scientific notation. So a is too big. I would want to move the decimal between the 4 and the 2. But 4.2 is not the same as 42. So I would need to multiply it by 10 to the first, because I moved my decimal once. I need to multiply it by 10 to the first. And then I just bring down that other power of 10, so 10 to the negative fifth. And then I've got, let's see, I've got my 4.2, which is perfect. It's right there between 1 and 10. And then I need to combine these two powers of 10 using the product rule. So I'm multiplying two things that have the same base, so I keep the base, and I add my exponent. So 1 plus negative 5 is negative 4. So that is your final answer. And just always double check and make sure A is between 1 and 10. All right, for part B, same process, except we're going to divide. So we're going to divide our powers of 10 and divide our A part. So 2.1 divided by 8.4, and then 10 to the negative fourth divided by 10 to the fifth. Okay. Well, let's see here. 2.1 divided by 8.4. If you don't know what that is, I mean, you can kind of intuit this one. It's going to simplify to 1/4, which is 0.25. But if you're struggling, you can go to the calculator. And we have nope, we have, what was it, 2.1? I think it was 2.1 divided by 8.4. And you get your 0.25. So you can kind of tell that the 2.1 divided by 8.4 is going to simplify to 1/4. If you didn't see that, that's okay. It's not a big deal. You can use your calculator. Either way, you're going to get 0.25. Okay. All right. So we get 0.25 times 10, and I'm going to show this work here because we're going to have to deal with some subtraction. So we get negative 4 minus 5. We're just using the quotient rule. The quotient rule says if you're dividing two things that have the same base, keep the base, subtract your exponents. So this becomes 0.25 times 10 to the negative 9. That's great, but you always want to check your A factor. Is it between 1 and 10? Well, no. In this case, it's too small, and we need to find that sweet spot, that just right spot. So because this is too small, I want to move my decimal once. So this is going to become 2.5 times 10 to the negative 1. Okay, so if my A factor is not in scientific notation, I write it in scientific notation. Okay, so I would need to move my decimal once to make this 2.5, but 2.5 is too big. So to shrink it back down to 0.25, I just multiply by 10 to the negative first power. And then bring down the other power of 10 that you had, which is 10 to the negative 9. And so what we do is we keep the A, which is just right. It's between 1 and 10. And then you combine the new powers of 10. So we have 10 to the negative first times 10 to the negative 9. Well, we have a power rule. We're multiplying two things with the same base. So we keep the base and we add the exponents. So we get 2.5 times 10 to the negative 10 power. Okay, so with questions like this, do your multiplication, your division the way I showed you. And then if your directions say to write the answer in decimal notation, just expand it back out. If it says write your answer in scientific notation, you do have to be really careful. You have to make sure that a factor is a number between 1 and 10. So rewrite it in scientific notation and then just combine your powers of 10 again. And that's it.